300 work gloves vanished from sight. When workers caught the thief, they couldn't hold back tears. At a bustling construction site, the sudden disappearance of 300 work gloves left workers baffled and frustrated. Determined to find the culprit, they set a trap, and when the thief was finally caught, their discovery left them in tears. One day, something unusual began occurring at a construction site in a quiet neighborhood of a bustling Korean city. The workers noticed that their gloves were mysteriously disappearing. At first, they brushed it off, assuming someone might have accidentally taken them home or that they had simply gotten misplaced amidst the chaos of the site. However, after a week, it became clear that this was no coincidence. Nearly every day or night, another pair of gloves would disappear. The workers grew increasingly concerned, puzzled by how the thief managed to slip past unnoticed in such a busy construction site. The mystery deepened as no one could figure out how the culprit operated without any fear of being caught. The tension mounted with each passing day, and the mysterious disappearances weighed heavily on the workers' minds. Among them was a young welder who had recently purchased a new pair of gloves with his very first paycheck, only to have them vanish. He was particularly upset by the loss. The foreman, Jong, an experienced and observant man, began to take the situation seriously, determined to uncover the truth. He suggested that they all work together to find out who was stealing their work equipment. The workers supported him, deciding it was a matter of principle. One of the standout workers was a fair and honest guy named Zhang, who was deeply disturbed by the idea that thieves were operating so brazenly on their grounds. Zhang had recently experienced a heavy loss. His father had died in a tragic accident on another construction site. For Zhang, solving this mystery became more than just a job. It was a way to honor his father's memory and contribute to safety at work. His determination and persistence inspired his colleagues. To stay focused on solving the mystery, the workers set up hidden cameras around the site, confident they'd catch the thief. But for several nights, the footage revealed nothing but the moonlit construction site and the occasional rustle of materials. Yet, the gloves kept vanishing. Confusion turned to suspicion as tensions rose. Some began to accuse one another, even suggesting the culprit might be among them. The situation worsened, with friendships strained and trust eroded. One worker, haunted by past legal troubles and worried about his family's future, feared losing his job if he was falsely accused. The once unified team was now on edge. John was concerned but stayed calm, hoping the situation would become clearer. He felt responsible not only for the work, but also for the morale of the team, which was rapidly deteriorating. Deciding not to give up halfway, Jiang ordered additional cameras to be installed, covering every corner of the site. It was a costly decision, but the company reluctantly approved it. Jiang, risking his reputation, insisted on continuing surveillance. After several days, one of the cameras finally captured something unusual, a small shadow moving across the site, barely visible in the dark. Rewatching the footage, Jiang spotted a ginger cat cautiously navigating the construction area, hiding behind equipment to stay unnoticed. At first, no one believed the cat could be responsible for the missing gloves, but then they saw it carrying something in its teeth. While some workers laughed with relief, Zhang remained serious, recalling his father's advice that even small details on a construction site could be crucial. After observing the cat for several nights, they confirmed it was indeed stealing their gloves. Each time it took a new pair heading in the same direction, the workers were puzzled. Why would a little cat steal almost 300 pairs of gloves? And where was it taking them? Determined to find out, they set up a watch. The next night, the workers waited for the cat to appear again on the site and quietly followed it. Zhang and two other workers, Zhou and Wu, walked behind it carefully, trying not to reveal their presence. The cat moved confidently and quickly as if it knew it might be followed. It zoomed through the streets, slipping through narrow alleys, jumping over fences, and weaving between trash cans as if its path was already planned. The chase wasn't easy. Zhao, the oldest, began to fall behind, struggling for breath, but Zhang supported him, risking losing sight of the cat. Zhang noticed this act and saw leadership potential in the young man. Occasionally, the cat paused to listen, forcing the workers to freeze, hiding behind corners to avoid being seen. At one point, the cat squeezed through a narrow gap between buildings, and Wu, the slimmest of the group, had to follow to keep it in sight. Finally, the cat reached a modest house on the outskirts of the neighborhood. It slipped through a crack in the old wooden fence, disappearing into the yard with neat flower beds. Zhang froze, stunned that the culprit was a small domestic cat. "What do we do now?" Wu whispered, still trying to process the bizarre revelation. John didn't answer right away. He was listening to the sounds from inside the yard. The cat didn't reappear, and they decided to knock on the door. After a few minutes, a middle-aged woman dressed in a house robe appeared at the door. Her name was Chen. She had kind eyes and a gentle smile, though she looked a bit surprised to see a whole group of workers at her door so late at night. "Sorry to bother you," Zhang began awkwardly, rubbing his forehead. "We've been following your cat and noticed it's been stealing gloves from our construction site. This has happened several times, and we got curious why." Chen looked puzzled at first but soon smiled and invited the workers inside. The house was cozy but slightly chaotic. In the hallway corner was a neatly stacked pile of gloves. As the workers stepped in, they noticed photos on the walls. Some of Chen with a man, likely her husband, and later ones where she looked sad and alone. "This is Yang," Chen explained, sitting on the sofa. "I found her a few years ago, small, hungry, and sick. She was in terrible shape, but I nursed her back to health over several months. Since then, she's been my loyal companion and started bringing me things as if to thank me for saving her." Chen explained that at first, Yang brought her small items like pebbles or pieces of paper, but over time she started bringing work gloves. The woman didn't know where the gloves came from but was happy that her pet had found such an unusual hobby. Now everything made sense. "I knew she was taking something from yards, but I didn't think it was from your site," Chen admitted, looking a little embarrassed at the workers. "You can't imagine how proud she is of her trophies. Every time she brings them and lays them at my feet as if they are the most valuable catch, especially for me." Chen then shared her story. Her husband was a construction worker and had died in an accident at work 2 years ago. He loved to wear work gloves, and now those gloves reminded Chen of him. Yang, as if sensing her sorrow, had begun bringing gloves home, seemingly trying to comfort her in his own feline way. The story deeply moved the workers, who never imagined that the mysterious thefts were the work of a simple cat driven by love for his grieving owner. Jan, reminded of his own late father, struggled to hold back tears, overwhelmed by the unexpected tenderness of the situation. The workers bid a warm farewell to Chen, who promised to return all the gloves she had taken. Touched by the story, John proposed that they collect money to buy Chen a new pair of gloves in memory of her late husband. The team eagerly agreed, moved by her heartfelt gestures. As they left the construction site, any frustration over the missing gloves had been replaced by compassion and understanding. They now realized that somewhere in the neighboring house, a little cat with a heart full of love was embarking on her nightly missions, trying to comfort her grieving owner. This heartfelt story reminded them that behind every mysterious or suspicious occurrence, there could be a profound human story, and that kindness often reveals itself in the most unexpected ways. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.